Greetings, everyone. Greetings. I want to say hello to everyone. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I may have lost some of you all, so you're going to have to go back out, come back in, because on one of my last videos, it ended the program by mistake. So you all tune right back in. We're right here with you. We're glad to have Miss Gloria Umanah with us. Some people say Umanah or Umanah. I heard her say that they both are the same. But if you're there with us, um, just stand by, you all, because I'm going to let some of you all know in the other chat room that somehow that program ended by my mistake. And as you know, that we're working with new software. So when we do that, things happen. So I'm going to let you all know right now that we are in the other chat room. There we go. So some of you all are coming back. Um, Thank you for tuning in tonight, and thank you for being with us. We're glad that we're here. Working with new software. There we go. All right. So here you come back. We have with us Gloria Umanah, spoken word artist, speaker, you name it, she does it. She's a public speaker. She's been traveling different places, going around and bringing the word of God through her special art, her special way. And she is a very gifted, very talented. And I'm just letting some of you all, yeah, now you're transferring over. Thank you, and I apologize for that. Um, so, um, I reached out to Gloria because I am a person that loves spoken word. I love spoken word. I love the art. I love the talent. I think people that do that are very special who do it. And I think that they have a gift. And, whenever you're able to take words and speak them and reach so many people in such a profound way, I think it's awesome that in what she's doing. And so she's been able to actually do that, reach so many people in so many ways, in a way that's very unique and inspirational. And so when I reached out to her, I wanted to play one of her segments, and we're going to go over several of them tonight. But I wanted to do one on "It Is Finished." And when I reached out to her and her team, and they said, "Sure, it's fine. Thank you." And we were able to get her to allow us to do that, and we were very grateful and honored that she allowed us to have that done. And so many of you all that tune into the channel, you see that I play her quite often. And one of the other things that Bethel BHG TV is getting a new brand. It was just Pastor Johnson, but we are powered by Bethel BHG TV. That's how we're now powered. And I want to thank all of you all for your support because, as we said, we're going to be bringing programming nightly. So let me take this moment and go right ahead, and let me just say to all of you all, I want to say hello to Miss Talia, Kelly, how you doing? Brian, how you doing? Uh, Thomasina, how you doing? Sister KT, Brother Kenneth, and so many more. Thank you all for being here. And if you can hear me okay, y'all know I like to get that thumbs up. So somebody give me that thumbs up to let me know that you can hear me, myself, and also Sister Gloria. Sister Gloria, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm just so excited to join you guys.
Now, we're glad to have you. How's things in Atlanta?
It's going pretty good. I mean, it's somewhat quarantined for majority of us still. So some of the states opening up, but a good half of us we're staying at home for a couple more weeks still.
Okay, so most of the people staying at home. They're not going to go out and do all of this because Atlanta was on the spotlight at first.
And we
Uh,
still are.
they still are still on the spotlight, and we had that discussion on our show. We was like, wow, so many people in Atlanta are going to go, and they're going to go really do this. They're really going to go to the beauty salons, the hair salons, and of course there's always the conspiracy spin on things that came about. So basically you're still staying in, and
Yeah,
you
I'm still staying at. I mean, there's nowhere to go. I don't need to get my hair done. Those are things that they're not essential. So
okay,
I'm good
okay,
at home.
okay, good, good. Well, let me tell you a little bit about our broadcast. First of all,
Yeah.
this is the first time you all are watching. This is the first time Gloria and I have spoke and met. Is right now here on this show. We had a few minutes beforehand to make sure things were set up, but this is my first time meeting Gloria. So this is our channel here. We've been doing the YouTube thing for about a year and a half now, and we do a lot of teaching. We come on as Sabbatarians. We're here every Sabbath at 1 o'clock, and I wanted to really take Bethel BHG TV to another level where I started to. I wanted to bridge. I had a 24-hour online radio station and spoken word. I interviewed a lot of people in the spoken word artists, including Jackie Hill.
Nice.
I interviewed Jackie Hill right. I think she had just became Jackie Hill Perry, and very very good spoken word artist. So when I wanted to bridge this, I put in. I says I wonder where everybody's at because I lost a lot of contacts, and the radio station at that time was called Keep It Real Talk Radio.
Hmm.
So I put in spoken word Christian, and you came up.
Nice.
You came up a lot more than a lot of people. And I started to listen. I said, man, this lady's got some good talent here. And so that's what led me to reach out. And when I did this, I wanted to at least bring you on. And of course, thank you for being on the show. So tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for having me. First of all, it's always just so cool how people stumble upon my stuff, and it's just been so awesome to see kind of the connections and doors that God has opened and the opportunities that I've gotten just to interact with other ministries like this one. So, kind of how I started, it's like it's kind of crazy story because I would say it
Mhm.
starts when I was maybe 8 or 9 years old in the second
Oh,
grade.
really?
I remember thinking to myself, I want to be an author one day because I loved writing poetry.
Okay.
And I remember entering into this poetry contest as a second grader, and I wrote
Right.
what I thought was an incredible poem. But I remember my friend telling me that she thought my poem wasn't that good. And so I didn't even realize this, but I didn't write poetry from
Hmm.
second grade all the way until my junior year in college. I didn't
Wow.
realize how detrimental those words were to me. I've been recently reading this book talking about how everything in life,
Hmm.
they're either arrows of dragons and knits, and these dragons and knits, they're words that people speak to us that we don't realize have these effects on us. And so
Right.
that I
Right.
realized that that was one of the words that was spoken to me that I didn't even realize the effect of until many years later when people would ask me, oh, where did you start writing? And I had to think for a minute, and I realized this has always been something that God's placed inside of me that man used their words to shut down.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I was an improv actress at a Christian university, and they randomly asked me to do a spoken word. And I was like, well, I don't know what that is, and I don't do that, but you guys are paying for my school. So I guess I need to figure out how to do that.
Right.
And so I asked a couple friends who were spoken word artists, and I said, hey, could you teach me this art? Can you show me really quickly? Because I got to write something on the gospel. And one of my friends said, hey, actually, I have something on the gospel that we could kind of like maybe try to work through and modify a little bit and see if it works. And so we ended up playing around with it, and it actually is the It Is Finished video. So that was the first band where I ever performed. And it was
Yes.
just in front of a group of about 50 or so people. And my university at the time had about 13,000 people, and they found out about the piece and they said, hey, we want you to perform it in front of 13,000 plus the 90,000 that join us online. And I
Wow.
was like,
Okay.
wow, this is crazy. Are you sure? Like, I don't know how to do this. Like, I've only ever done one before. And they're like, no, we want you. And so I was like, okay. So I ended up doing it with them. And it was just such a powerful and impactful moment. I
Mhm.
think, especially because we're used to hearing the gospel in a sermon, we're used to hearing the gospel in a worship set. But what we're not used to hearing the gospel is in a creative manner, such as spoken word. So
Mhm.
when spoken word enters into the scene, normally people are at the edge of their seats. They want to hear what's about to be said. They're excited. They're eager. And I just love that joy that it sparks. And so I ended up being our school's first ever spoken word artist and toured with them all throughout the year. And throughout that, a lot of churches and organizations found out about me, and they're like, hey, like, we'd love to fly you to our church to do this piece and to do this. And I thought it was crazy because in my mind, it was just like a hobby. This is not what I anticipated on doing. This is not what I was studying in school. It was just something on the side that was really fun. Until God completely shifted the gears and was like, this is actually what I've created you and called you to do in this season of life. And so he swung the doors open, and it has been just incredible ever since. And it's escalated to something completely different today than it was on day one, which has been so cool. Just kind of journeying through that and seeing what God has planned all along.
Wow. So your first piece was It Is Finished.
Mm-hmm.
That was your first one.
Yep.
Wow.
The first one
Wow.
I've ever performed.
Yeah, and so of course, being being a writer and putting it together, I will say that in your art, it does draw you, and I'm glad that you said that it is another form of bringing the gospel,
Yeah.
bringing to light things that we should know about the Messiah, who he is, the fact that he died for us, the fact that he resurrected for us, and that even in low points in our life, you brought out so much, even in all of that I thought it was good, and I even seen where in some audiences people were just up, because that's
Yeah.
what spoken word of many of you all, of our viewers, I don't know how many were into the poetry and the spoken word, but I enjoyed it because, you know, being a teacher, you always learn to appreciate the other vehicle in which people bring forth the gospel. So I thought that was
Yeah.
awesome. Let's do this. Let's do this, Gloria. Let's bring in that piece that you did called It Is Finished. You all stay tuned and listen to this. This is Gloria Umanah. Did you say Umanah or Umana?
Umanah.
You Gloria Umanah. And let me ask you that. What it is where are you from with Umana?
Yeah. So my nationality is Nigerian.
Nigerian. Great,
Yeah.
great,
Yeah.
great. So Gloria but you were born here or in Nigeria?
Yeah. I was born here.
Okay. Oh, good, good. So, and we know there's a lot of culture with the different arts and the performance in Nigeria. We,
Yeah.
as some people say, American descendants of slaves. We can definitely relate to that. But Gloria, this is good. I want to bring out one of the first pieces that Gloria did. You all stay tuned. Check it. Check this out here. It is finished. Gloria Humana.
There I was, standing shamefully in a courtroom, surrounded by demons on my left and angels on my right. Satan as the persecutor, holding millions of records about my life, and God sitting on a throne with a mighty gavel in his hand. I had no lawyer. Placed on trial for things such as lying, stealing, and fornication. For this was the beginning of my tribulation, for there was no reason to plead an innocent statement, for all the evidence was sitting right there with Satan. the demons smiled as tears rolled down the judge's eyes, for they clearly knew that now was the hour of my demise. But wait. In came a light shining so bright that the demons smiling suddenly jumped with fright, and the man that walked in that night was none other than Jesus Christ. Darkness departed to give way, and glory was all the angels could say, as the man that walked in that night pulled out a lighter and immediately set Satan's records against me on fire. He took the sentence file and erased my name, looked at me in the eyes and said, "Daughter, I'll take the blame." Handcuffs were placed on this man and he was thrown to the ground. The entire courtroom gasped at this horrendous sound, and the sudden ceased the beat of his heart. The man that walked in glowing had now become dark. I did this to him. My lying, my stealing, my cheating, and he took the pain and spent 3 days in the hell that I was to go to for eternity. I left the courtroom that day, and there was nothing I could say. I was found innocent, for Christ handled the debt that I was to pay. This type of love is more than you could give to a girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife. This man died for me. I owe him my life. And even though my life is not at all worth it, how could you ever trade preferent for perfect? See, I gave my life to Christ and suddenly picked up a mop. The lying, cursing, cheating, all that had to stop, because my life had been bought. And it'd be a shame to sit there and do nothing but let it rot. I'm not perfect, and the will to sin hasn't completely diminished from my life. But I believe Jesus' words when he died for me on that cross. It is finished.
I don't hear you.
Oh, that was so inspirational. Very, very inspirational. It is finished. That was nice because that was like the judge and the jury, and someone comes in and pays that price. Elaborate on that for a few minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is actually a piece that one of the friends that I went to, he actually wrote majority of this, and I just made some tweaks to make it my voice. But I don't know, I often think about the reality of like that is like the picture of the gospel. Like we have this idea a lot of times that maybe our sin isn't seen, but I think the reality is, I think that's what makes grace so much more beautiful, is like my sin is very much seen, and it's very much right there before my eyes, and it's right there before everyone's eyes, and there's no denying about it. So it's not the reality that my sin is ignored, but it's the reality that my sin is acknowledged, but grace is still greater. And I think that's just like what we all start to come and walk into as far as salvation is the acknowledgement of God sees my sin, and it is despicable, and it is absolutely worth his complete cup of wrath. But Jesus steps in, a completely innocent person, to take the penalty and the payment in which I completely owe. Every single one of us, we are indebted to this. But realizing that someone decides to pay my debt, someone decides to say, you know what, I'm gonna take it. The penalty, I'm gonna take it completely. It's not like the penalty, we're just gonna ignore it. It's diminished, but I'm taking it. So for someone to step into the picture and put it on themselves, a fully innocent person, to carry my shame, to carry my baggage, so that I can walk a free man, a free woman, that's just the beauty of the gospel. And I think it's just the reality of like the aftermath to what walking in sanctification is like, is coming to the understanding that I now have grace and the Holy Spirit that propels me into living like Jesus. I no longer need to go back to what put me in chains. I think about Galatians 5:1 often. It says, "It is for freedom that Christ has set you free." And some translations say, "Ensure that you stay free," which is hinting at the reality that I can go back and put those same chains back on me, or I can choose to believe the truth of the gospel and walk in the freedom that Christ died for me to receive. So I think that piece essentially is just, it's the basic gospel piece that I love to share if it's a church that just needs to hear the gospel again in a fresh way.
Yeah, and I think that's what when those words speak. That's the beauty of the art of spoken word, because as the poem is unfolding, it's a gift to know the modulation of your voice coming in because we put ourselves in what you're saying.
Yeah.
And it really brings into reality, yes, that's me. That's me. She's
Yeah.
speaking for me. Those words are for me. I can relate to those words. And everybody can. Everybody can, because that's the purpose of, when Jesus came, he came, as Isaiah said, 53rd chapter, he was wounded for our transgressions, bruised for our iniquities.
Yeah.
The Lord laid upon him the iniquity of us all. But to hear that in a different form is what's so great about it. Let me ask you this: what is your website? What is your website information?
Yeah. It's just www.gloriaumanah.com.
GloriaUmanah.com. You all go there, check out Gloria's website. You can get more information on Gloria. You can get more information on what events she's going to be doing. And of course, she always has something there that would inspire you. So I'm going to put that up in there so you all can see it. It's Gloria Umanah, www. I'm just going to put Gloria.
Yeah, for sure.
You,
.com. My Instagram's the same. I think every bit of social media is the same. It's just Gloria Umanah.
you spell that
Yeah, it's UMANAH.
and
Umanah.
that is, so what part of Nigeria? What part of and that's
Yeah.
.com, correct? Yes.
Yes.com. My family's from Lagos, Nigeria.
Okay. There's Gloria's information. I'm going to leave it up there. Glory Umanah or Umana.com. You all go there and check it out. Gloria, what do you have coming up next? What events do you have coming up?
Yeah, so I guess I could say this. One of the biggest things that my ministry is completely revolved. So I really don't, I don't travel to do spoken word as much anymore. I started something called the Ex Nihilo Collective about 2 years ago. And it's
Okay.
a collective of spoken word artists that live all over the US on mission to illuminate Jesus through words, poetry, and storytelling. So as the founder and executive director of that, majority of my time is not spent through doing spoken word, but it's through leading others in doing it. And so it's been really cool because what we like to do is be a little bit more creative than, the typical spoken word is just one person on a stage, but we like to create just kind of like an experience for people to see this in a different way. So sometimes we do 45 to an hour long set. Sometimes we just do an opener, but we always do 3 to 4 artists on the stage in one piece at the same time. So we've been building pieces like that. We can't really travel currently because of, Corona. So we've just been releasing a lot of digital content via our social media, via our website. And it's just been super cool to kind of see how we have the ability to continue illuminating Jesus without having to physically be somewhere.
So eliminating, illuminating Jesus.
Yes,
Okay,
illuminating.
illuminating Jesus. So, and when you do this, you've been illuminating Christ by using other artists. Who are some of the artists? Are you able to discuss that now, or
Yes. Yeah, you probably wouldn't know any of them. That's
okay,
kind of the goal is we try
okay,
to be a collective versus individual artists.
okay, and so it's more skit oriented and stuff like that.
Yes and no, not exactly skit. It's just a much more creative way. It takes a lot more on the storytelling side of things
Okay,
versus a skit.
is there anything that you all have on YouTube now?
Yeah, we do. You could either check out our Instagram that has a lot of our video stuff, or YouTube. It's just the Ex Nihilo Collective,
Okay.
or our Instagram is exnihilo.co. So
Okay,
EXNIHILO.
and let me put that up there as well so people can see that. It is, let me just quote that out again for me again.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
I'm
EX.
sorry, something. I was just looking for it there. Okay. EX
EXNIHILO
NIHILO
.co.
.co.
Yes,
Okay.
that's our Instagram, which we have a lot of content on there.
Okay. And I'm going to put that in there. Plus EXNIHILO.co.
EXNIHILO.co. Yes.
Is that right there?
Yes, I don't know what the PUS is,
Oh, it's supposed
but
to be plus. So everybody,
oh, okay.
that's me and my misspelled word there. So
You're
yeah, I want
good.
everybody to see that. Okay, so you all can see that's Gloria. That's Gloria's website, GloriaUmanah.com, and then also they have ex nihilo. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, so ex nihilo is a Latin word for out of nothing, which is how God created the entire universe, the whole
Okay,
world.
out of
It's out
nothing.
of nothing. Yeah.
.co. Okay. And so, one of the other things is that we found that, in this spoken word talent,
Yeah.
you've done several pieces. I want to bring in another one that says we have lost whose we are.
Hmm.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, let's take a listen to that real quick. You all stand by.
Perfect.
Self is the beginning to the end, the beginning of the rabbit hole to evil, the unending road that leads to destruction. It's like spiritual liposuction because Satan will use you to destroy you, to squeeze the life out of you by believing that which is false about you. The destroyer's goal is to destroy, but his tactic is deceit. And he wins time and time again when we believe lies like Adam and Eve, the falsehood disguised in the words take and eat. And even thousands of years later, us women and men still cheat on God because even after the death on a cross, we are still like Eve, searching for a cure to this disease because sin takes over like cancer. And in a world full of darkness that places our defeats, failures, and troubles before our eyes on display, and our sin placed back in our minds on replay, how could we ever even recognize truth when we're searching in the wrong place? See, Satan is the father of all lies, and he's crafty in his ways. He only tells a lie when it sounds like the truth. He only tells a lie if it's at least half the truth. He'll even tell you a lie using your own voice, manipulate your psyche, leaving you with no choice but to believe everything that the world tells us we are. So we put on a mask and lose who we are, trying to be who we are not. Comparison chokes us at the glance of our screens, and the pixels cut deeper than a knife ever could, and we are left thinking that we are no good and unworthy of love. So he sends confusion to play tricks on our minds, to hijack our thoughts and terrorize our souls until our faith flies at half-mast. We allow our past to define us. We let the mistakes of our past hold us, isolated in Babylon and like chains around our feet. We can never move out of Egypt without the acceptance of man. And God is crying out, "Let my people go." Because we've become gripped by a fear of failure, a fear of rejection, a fear of what people think, until we begin to sink in our insecurities, living by these standards that are inhuman, as if we were created by man and for man. And this is how Satan tries to steal the glory. We are believing an illusion, a deceptive appearance, a false idea, an ungodly belief. Our vision has been tainted. There's an error in our focus, and we have lost who we are. We have lost whose we are.
Wow, Gloria, that was awesome. So
Thank
we've
you. Thank you so much.
lost whose we are.
Yeah.
Elaborate. That was beautiful. So there's a lot of in depthness into this.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll say that that's actually probably one of my favorite pieces. And it's because there's just so many different layers to it. Most of the time, when I write a spoken word for a church or a conference, they're normally very specific about what they want. This happens to be one of the ones where they weren't super specific. They're just like, it's a women's conference, and we're talking about identity. And I
Mm,
believe they said, I remember for this specific one, the theme was fearfully and wonderfully made. And I thought to myself, maybe if we go back and figure out why we don't believe that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, we won't have to keep having these conferences about being fearfully and wonderfully made. And so I
wow.
thought to myself, okay, well, what does it start with? And I thought to myself, it starts with Eve. It all goes back to the garden, and it all goes back to the lie that she believed, and we are still believing that lie today. Like, a lot of us still carry that Eve mindset. We still carry that Eve mentality, that gets us to look inward, whereas we're called to look upward. That's where our help comes from. That's also the reflection of the image that I was created in. And so it really just stems from the reality of the reason why we struggle so much with identity, the reason we struggle so much with knowing who we are in Christ, is because we're not looking to Christ. We're looking to
Mhm.
the wrong thing. So it's really just a call to fix our gaze and fix our focus back upward, because I think we've just had so many different distractions that have come our way. And it
True.
goes back to Galatians 5:1, of just the essence of how we keep going back into bondage and back into slavery when Christ has come to set us free. But the only way we find freedom is simply by looking up. And so that's kind of where that piece
Mhm.
derives from. And that's kind of where that was the thought process that I was going through when I wrote the piece. And that was probably one of my lesser structured pieces. Most of them are usually very like, okay, this is the route we're going to go. But that one was more so a free write. It's just like, okay, well, let's just write what's in my heart. Let's just write what I
Mhm.
feel like God's speaking in these moments. And so that
Wow.
was a really fun one.
Wow. And you know that one was one of my favorites also. And
Nice.
and it was interesting to hear why it was your favorite and the foundation for writing it. One of the things that I teach, that we all are God's people. We all are His children. I always tell people that if you're born on this side of the flood, which most that's all of us, we all come
Yeah.
from one person, and that's Noah, because his three sons came from him, so we all came from Noah or one of his
Right.
three sons. But I also teach that we, through when it comes to identifying who are the people of the book, the people of the Bible, the scattered sheep, I teach people that as coming through the transatlantic slave trade, we are the people of the book.
Yeah.
Everybody has to accept the Messiah. Everybody has to go through the Son, but there is still a history as to who are the people of the book. Where are they? What happened to them?
Yeah.
And I there's a professor that's here in Florida International University, and he's from Nigeria, the Limbo tribe. Oh no, the Igbo tribe. Igbo tribe.
Ebo. Yeah.
Igbo tribe. And
Ebo.
the Igbo, you familiar with the Igbo tribe?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So the Igbo tribe teaches that, you know, the lost people, the book. And so there was a connection there with the professor. And then there was another guy that I conversed with. And so when I heard that, that's what came to my mind. I says, man, that is so powerful that we lost whose we are.
Yeah.
And there's a reality, there's a very grave loss. And I always teach that if we understand our history, it would be more personable, because as being minorities, one of the things we try to do is what's our identity, what's our position, is this Bible for me? Is this a
Yeah.
God that's for me? And I tell people yes, because the covenant, the original covenant agreement was giving to you. Well, to your forefathers and going back. And our job was to really take this to be a light to the entire world. And today we are scattered, but our job is to be a light to the all the nations of the earth, and that
Yeah.
exampleship should come. So that was a very powerful piece there, whose we are. And one of the things that
Thank you.
I share with people is one of the things we all have to do is get back to the scriptures, get
Yeah.
back to the book, and determine where our identity
Yeah.
as people of God, where we can be at, where do we need to be at, what role do we need to have. So I
Yeah.
thought that it was
Absolutely.
amazing that the way you wrote it, that it really had a different connection with me. Gloria, in your website, and I know that this is an art, and as people that do this, do these type of performances, budget is always an issue, and that's something we
Yeah.
could highly respect in what you're doing and what you're trying to do. Where can our subscribers and listeners go and to make a donation to help you
Yeah.
do and continue the ministry that you're doing?
Yeah, so the easiest way to give really is it's through our ministry's website. So not my personal website, which is I can either type it out for you, but it's the ex nihilo collective.com.
The
So
X
that's yeah, the ex nihilo
uh,
collective.com.
Collective. Let me just put that up there. Can I?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's so many ways to give on there. There's
So
a
it's
button for it, and yeah,
the
it's
X. Uh huh.
the ex nihilo
Collective.
collective.com.
Okay. Got you. So I need to put that in there. Okay. Good. And one of the things that I did, I didn't want to just have Gloria on here because I went there and it was very easy to make a donation. One of the things that I believe in doing is supporting ministries that is really trying to get the word out, especially the gospel, because this gospel has to be brought out to the four corners of the earth. He's not going to come
Hmm.
until he says this gospel must be preached unto the
Yeah.
four corners of the earth. And that's one of the things that we're trying to do. Um, Peace be still. Tell us about that one.
So funny enough, I wrote this one. I think it was maybe right after our school had told me, "Hey, we want you to be our spoken word artist." And I remember thinking to myself, like, one, this is a stage that people dream to be on, and it has never been my dream to be on this stage. This is an opportunity that I know people would like fight for. Like this is a full ride scholarship. Like there you get to travel, like you get to do so many really cool things. And I remember when they asked me, I thought to myself, there's so many other people I could tell you might do a better job at this than me. Like I've only ever written one with the help of somebody else. I've only ever performed one. I'm not sure you want me to be the proclaimed spoken word artist of the entire university.
Hmm.
And they were like, no, we want you. And I was like, oh my goodness. And so I remember that summer going into my senior year, just like dealing with a lot of fear. I was just like, what if I can't do this? Like, what if the next year comes around and they ask me to write something and I'm not able to execute because I don't know if I have this in me. Most people have the ability to boast because they know it's inside of them. But this wasn't even me like pretending to be humble, but this was truly me like, I don't have it in me, God. Like, I'm going to have to truly rely and depend on you. And I always think of 2 Corinthians 3:5, where it talks about my sufficiency is in Christ. And it's because there is literally nothing inside of me that felt like I could accomplish this apart from Christ. And that's not even me trying to be like cute with it. It's just like 100% honest is what I felt in that moment. And so I remember just being in my room one night listening to that song. I think the specific song was You Make Me Brave. And I knew that I needed to write a spoken word to that song at some point, because that's pretty much the way that we always did spoken word at our school. It was always in the middle of a worship song.
Right.
So I remember listening to that song and actually writing this song, this piece kind of to myself. Like these were words that I needed to hear. These were words that I needed to believe, not just like what I felt like the song was evoking. And so it was very interesting and really cool, because I remember getting to the end of the piece and feeling that freedom that comes when we release fear, which is really awesome, because that's probably one of the most popular pieces and most requested pieces to do, because it's something everybody deals with. Everybody deals with fear in some capacity, and everybody can use a reminder of who our God is and why we ought to let go of fear. And so I do enjoy performing that specific piece. It's just, I don't know, it's just such a hit, the way it hits hearts, and the way that it just kind of connects with people so easily and so smoothly.
Yeah, yeah, and so, and we're going to play that in a few minutes. I want to just post a couple of the nice comments people put up here. Miss Tehila says, Sister Gloria, that piece displayed great talent. You have such a sincere and beautiful spirit. Thank you for sharing with us. I will be on the lookout for future works for sure.
Thanks.
And Sister Kelly Ming says, that was awesome. And young people will be able to relate to you. It was really awesome. So thank all of you all. And Sister Marie says, indeed. So, and so this, in dealing with fear and dealing with this COVID-19, when I heard that piece and I said, that is so relevant. And that's one thing about the beauty of YouTube and social media. When you come across a piece, it may have been done a while or months or a year earlier, but then you're able to find that it relates to something right now today. Because a lot of people are dealing with fear. A lot of people, rightfully so. This is a very serious circumstance that we're dealing with right now. And we have to be very cautious. We trust the Lord, but we still have to be cautious and wise that we don't just tempt God. But there are people who are in fear. I just interviewed a brother last week who is recovering from COVID-19. He's one of the teachers up in Chicago from the Israel of God congregation. And what his brother had it, and his sister and his mother, his daughter and his mother. But his brother had someone that had it as well, and they committed suicide. And it's fear. And of course, we saw the doctor that committed suicide. And these are things where people are really dealing with fear when it comes to all of this stuff. So I want to play that piece, Peace Be Still. We're interviewing and as our special guest, Gloria Umanah. That's her website there at the bottom. If you all can see that. And if you do want to give up, donate and continue to help her do what she's trying to do with the Ex Nihilo Collective, let us know what that's going to be about again. You're grabbing different artists and you're taking them kind of
the ex nihilo. So we have a team of 24 people that live all across the U.S.
Oh, wow.
And that live currently in 2 other countries as well. So we travel and tour and help churches just tell the story of Jesus in a much more creative and beautiful way, whether that's through creative direction, whether that's through spoken word, storytelling, just all the different mediums. So that's pretty much what we do.
So we can't wait to get a little bit more of that. And so we'll be watching out for that. Let's check out this piece called Peace Be Still, Gloria, Umanah.
An unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat. Fear. Or to simply put it, fear is the belief that God is not with you, you of little faith. You see, the interesting thing about fear is that even though it's like a shadow and accompanies you wherever you go, fear is a choice. Yeah, I said it. Fear is a choice. It's a choice between saying yes in the face of opposition when you can't see the rationale, or living with the regret of not trying or remaining crippled with the lies you're too busy buying. And without doing the math, we all already know what the common choice is. Because we walk around like cats who have 9 lives, believing that we could be brave in the next life, but why are we never brave enough for today? We always say tomorrow and hope by tomorrow fear will be gone, but God tells us tomorrow isn't even promised, and that's where we've all gone wrong. He wants us to be brave today, brave right now. Check this. The voice of fear will always be present in situations where there's an opportunity to be brave. See, even Peter, who walked with the Savior himself, almost said yes to bravery until the waves of fear began to wave at him and he was no longer sure Jesus was with him anymore. So he sunk and fear won. You of little faith. See, that's how it works. Bravery is simply an exchange of fear for faith. And our faith in Jesus comes with a peace, an inner peace that defies all fears, a peace that confronts, not one that backs up or backs out, but a peace that comes with bravery to say peace, be still, in the face of insecurities, in the face of opposition, in the face of the uncertainties of the deeper places, and saying yes. Yes to standing at the shore, embracing yourself for the exceedingly and abundantly more that we ever so often pray for. And when it comes, going head first into the deepest of the unknowns. This is bravery. Remembering that fear keeps us stuck, but grace whispers freedom. Fear shouts doubt, but grace sings peace. Fear taunts you are alone, but grace declares my name is Emmanuel, and I am always with you. And in the midst of all those fears, grace chants you are not crippled, you are not weak, you are not worthless, you are not inadequate. Grace chants you are brave.
Wow.
Wow.
Powerful.
So fun.
Powerful.
Thank you.
I mean, the energy is so intense. The message is so powerful. The words are so encouraging. You're very gifted. You're very talented. Our prayer is that you continue to do the work that you're doing. Continue to write.
Thank you.
It's very since 8 years old, and it helped. That was the foundation. That was the road. That was the path, and
Yeah.
it was humility on your part to really accept what the university wanted you to do, and it's awesome. So we just simply say thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for being on the
Thank
show.
you.
You all check out Gloria. That's her website, gloriaumanah.com. That's pretty much on Instagram as well. And also you can check out, if you like to give, go and help do what she's trying to do. 24 other artists from around the world. The Ex Nihilo Collective.com. Go there and let's just continue to help this thing grow. And Gloria, it was awesome to have you here. You like to share anything else with us?
I'm just excited and encouraged just during this quarantine season, just kind of like as everything's been slower paced and everything's just a little bit different. my encouragement to our team and just to everybody else and myself is use this time to dig deeper. Like, don't let this season be wasted season. Like, our whole goal is not to just get through this, but that we could grow through this, and that on the other end of this, we can look back and see what God did through our time, that we went deeper in communion with him. We went deeper in our relationship with him, and we didn't settle for what was on the surface. Because I think it's really easy to do that, especially as a creative. Like, how much more impactful can my work be if I choose to go deeper in communion with the Father? And so that's just my encouragement and challenge to anybody and everybody is use this season to go deeper, use this season to be more intimate with the Father and to truly know him, and to truly find who you are and what he's designed you for and called you to, so that you can walk in purpose, because life with purpose is so much more fun than life when you're still searching.
Hmm. Have you been having the opportunity since you're in, as we all say, we all in quarantine, to just really come up and have some writing thoughts that we can expect in the future?
Yeah, so everything that I do for the most part, I do maybe like 80% traveling to preach and then 20% spoken word. So
Mm.
majority of the spoken word stuff I do is more so with my team. So it's more so with the Ex Nihilo Collective. So
Okay.
we're working on a pretty big project currently. That'll come. It's not going to come out till December, but we started now because it's a very big project.
Okay.
So we
Okay.
could use lots of prayers for that, and we're regularly releasing content and pieces and videos just throughout the year as well. So I mean, it's been super fun and super encouraging.
Good, good. So we encourage you and just continue to do the great work. And
Thank
we just
you.
want to say thank you for being on the show. And
Thank
when you
you.
do something else, we'll perhaps may not let this be the last time because we always call you back. So we just want to let you know that.
Amen. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, and especially as you get new things developed, anything that we can do to support, we would like to do that and share with our people. And if you have any,
Yeah.
if any of the individuals are there, they're doing something, we definitely want to do that. I want to just get a couple comments in the chat room, and then we're going to get out of here. But before we do that,
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave you all this information about our phone app. Don't forget it. Download it because you can get more information as to what we're always doing right here. That's going to be powered by Bethel BHT. Stand by. And again, thank you, Gloria. Thank you for being on. Miss Tahila
Yes.
says, she says, by far my absolute favorite as I battle with fear and anxieties. You did that thing, Gloria. All praise to the
Oh,
Most High
thanks so much.
for you and your gift. So thank you for that. I just wanted to put that in there because I thought it would be to let you know, even in this segment, you have touched and blessed somebody.
Thank you.
So listen, this is our show tonight, you all. We're going to be coming nightly with something. We want to thank Gloria for being on. Um, don't forget to go support her, follow her, look at her on YouTube. You can just put in Gloria Umanah, and you would
Mhm.
be tremendously blessed by the gift that she has. And Gloria, thank you very much for taking some time out. And I
Thank
told her
you.
ahead of time this was only going to be from 8 to 9. We got started a few minutes late, but I want to hold to my word to keep her just for 1 hour. Thank you again, Gloria. Thank all of you all for tuning
Thank
in.
you so much.
And our prayers are with you.
Thank you. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye bye.